Hello and welcome to Maths with Jacob. This lesson will focus on chance. Chance involves the likelihood that a particular event may or may not happen in everyday life. There are numerous events around the world that influence our lives in one way or another. Many of them rely on chance. One of the most popular topics on the planet is the weather. We are all interested in the weather. In extreme cases, the nature of the weather can determine how we conduct our lives each and every day. The weather icons to the right are seen in the newspapers, on television, on our mobile phones, and in many other places. We are keen to check them out each and every day. Weather forecasters have the difficult job of trying to predict the weather each and every day. They try to do this in order to help us decide how we might spend our day or our week. They give us an idea whether our favourite sporting event may or may not occur on the weekend, for example. So predicting the weather is heavily reliant on many factors, and that's why it's a very, very good example of chance in everyday life. The weather forecasters are not 100% certain what's going to happen, but they take a lot of factors into account. They make an educated guess, and that's how they try to predict the weather from day to day. So the weather is an excellent example of chance occurring in everyday life. Games involving chance. Some games which involve chance are as follows. The world famous Snakes and Ladders. So in order to play this game, you have two or more people, and each of them has a little counter or some little dot or something like that, and you throw the dice and then you move a certain number of places. If you're lucky, you will land at the bottom of a ladder, which means you go up, so that's great. If you're unlucky, you'll land on the snake's head, which means you go down, so you're unlucky. So this is a perfect example of a game of chance. Roulette. With roulette, you spin the wheel and the ball lands on a certain number. So, depending on the number you choose, you can either win or lose. So there's a perfect example of a game of chance. Card games. Now, when someone deals the cards, you don't know what hand you're going to end up with. So that is definitely a game of chance, isn't it? Because you could end up with a very weak hand, which means you don't have much chance of winning, or you can end up with a very, very strong hand, which increases your chances of winning. Probability. The word chance has a similar meaning to the word probability. They both refer to events, and they are interested in the likelihood that these events may or may not happen. Some popular probability items. The first one is a coin. A coin normally has two sides, a head and a tail. The coin has a head on one side and a tail on the other. It is tossed before many sporting events. For example, before a game of cricket, the coin is tossed and one of the captain calls, and depending on where the coin landed, if the captain wins, then a decision is made whether the team bats or bowls. The same occurs in tennis and many other games. The dice. Dice are used in many board games around the world. Hence, many of these games rely on chance to have a winner. And we saw that example with Snakes and Ladders, and there are other games like Monopoly and plenty of other examples. Cards. Numerous card games around the world are heavily reliant on chance to determine the winner. Some of these games are poker and euchre, for example. So the chance occurs because you don't know what hand you're going to be dealt. And as I said, if it's a very weak hand, then your chances of winning are very slim. If it's a very strong hand, that increases your chances of winning.